Oh my lord. What it do, cucks? It's your boy the hater. It's Friday night and I'm outside, so that must mean Friday Night Smackdown review. That's right. So as usual, we're gonna go over this show segment by segment. Alright, so let's get to it. First, we get a recap of Cody's beating from Kevin Owens that happened like 2 months ago. Then we get a recap of the beating that happened like last month, like whatever the hell Saturday Night main event was. It feels like forever ago. Then Aldis has like a segment within this segment, and he basically says KO needs to give the title back or else. The Winged Eagle title belt. Anyways, whatever, complete waste of time. We transition immediately into a backstage promo between Naomi and Bianca. They cut a boring ass promo. Basically, they're saying that it's a bittersweet feeling to be the tag team champions, knowing what happened to Jade, and they're not done trying to figure out. They're complete idiots. They keep thinking that it's like Nia Jax or what's it called, Candice LeRae or Tiffany Stratton. It's obviously none of them. It's either Naomi or it's Bayley. Since nobody has pointed the finger to Bayley, logic dictates, wrestling logic dictates, that it's Bayley. But nevertheless, let's see how this plays out. The three of them, Naomi, Bianca, and Bayley, who joins them at this moment, have a triple threat, not a triple threat, a 6-woman tag match against Candice LeRae, Tiffany Stratton, and Nia Jax. There's nothing to talk about here. The match happens. It's complete garbage. Nobody could possibly be entertained by seeing this match. Again, we've seen it 100 times. We've seen every permutation there is to see about this, with these 6 women. So this is just another throwaway match. During the match, of course, we have the obligatory, nearly every week moment where Tiffany Stratton considers cashing it in. This is getting to the point now where it's stupid. Once she cashes it in, there's going to be no excitement at all because we've seen her attempt to cash it in 100 times. This really, really shows that Tiffany Stratton sucks. You know what I mean? Her entire post-Money in the Bank run has been a complete and utter waste of time. Nobody could possibly be enjoying this. Anyways, that's how that goes down. This, of course, leads to a distraction. Candice LeRae gets hit with a Bubba Bomb by Naomi, and she pins Candice, and that's it, right? We move to the back, another segment. The A-Town Down Under jobbers are talking to Nick Aldis, saying that they want him to pay for the damage that Braun caused. Nick Aldis says, take it up with Braun. So that's that. They have a match with Braun later tonight. Then Carmelo Hayes comes in, along with Sami Zayn. Well, Sami Zayn comes in first and says, we need to talk, Nick, but they don't talk about anything. Basically, Carmelo comes in, Sami Zayn doesn't like the fact that he came in, so they have a match. Nobody could possibly care about this match, but let's continue to talk about the next segment. Now we've got Braun versus A-Town Down Under, right? Basically, this match can best be described as an enjoyable, I will say, burial. It is a complete burial of Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. Now, I will say this. I was completely right about Grayson Waller. This guy brings nothing to the table. He has zero charisma, zero personality. He's just weird, and he's like 35, which isn't old. It's actually younger than the hater, but it's old to start a career, He's basically just starting. He hasn't done anything at all during his entire run except win the meaningless tag team titles. More on those titles later. The finish of the match was pretty interesting because basically Austin Theory gets Braun Strowman in the fireman's carry, right? But he doesn't pick him up. He gets him from the top turnbuckle, and quite frankly, he clearly can't hold him up. I don't know if he was supposed to hit the A-Town down or not, but either way, his back gives out. Braun gets behind him, picks him up, does the power slam, pins his jobber ass, right? That's it. That's the end of this experiment. It's been like a year of them being a tag team. They're basically the same thing as Pretty Deadly. It's the same thing. They're a comedy jobber tag team, and Austin Theory is someone that pinned John Cena, I believe, at WrestleMania. So the same guy that pinned John Cena at WrestleMania is not getting his ass handed to him by Braun Strowman. To be fair, Braun Strowman is a big motherfucker. So this is understandable. But it nevertheless is a burial. They could have done everything they wanted to do with A-Town Down Under, but with Pretty Deadly. You know what I mean? And then A-Town Down Under, if they have any aspirations of these guys doing anything else, could have been spared this burial. But clearly, nobody has any aspirations for A-Town Down Under to do anything of value because they both suck. I will, however, reiterate the fact that at one point, Austin Theory was supposed to be the next big thing. He was chosen by Vince. He looked great. He won the Money in the Bank, which he then ruined completely and permanently by cashing in on the United States title, which to this day is like one of the worst things to ever happen in wrestling and one of the worst things to ever happen in anybody's career. But nevertheless, he was someone that was a big deal. Now, he beat John Cena clean, but John Cena's imminent return, which appears to be at Elimination Chamber, they're heavily advertising that. I think he might appear on Raw, on Netflix. We'll see, right? Like, John Cena coming back is going to come back, obviously, with a much higher position than Austin Theory has now. In fact, even if Austin Theory had like a massive United States title run, John Cena would still come back in a higher position, which completely deflates the fact that Austin Theory beat him, right? That's presented as a massive fluke now because nobody cares about Austin Theory because since then he's done fuck all. He's been an undercard nobody, and John Cena is still John Cena. So there you have it, a complete and utter burial. Then we get a car promo from Owens who says, I'm going to come out on my own terms. Whatever, who cares, right? He copies the hater just like Hater Outdoors. Owens Outdoors, cuckolds. Then we get a Chelsea segment. This was pretty fun. Chelsea comes out dressed like the Statue of Liberty. She looks great and calls all the other women ugly. She's not wrong. Michin comes out. You know what I mean? Like, Michin is a great example. Like, she's obviously an attractive woman. She's not an ugly broad, right? But Chelsea Green has that diva aesthetic. You know what I mean? She carries herself like a star and she looks like a star. You know what I mean? She's no Trish Stratus. You know what I mean? She doesn't have that level of star power. You know what I mean? She's no Chyna. She's not even a Jade Cargill, but she does the best with what she's given. So I got to give kudos and mad respect to Chelsea Green, But basically, Michin comes out with a kendo stick and Chelsea leaves. So this is going to be the first feud, a totally acceptable feud within the context of the mid-card women's title. You know what I mean? This mid-card women's title has a place in this company now in taking care of the people that otherwise would be doing nothing. You know what I mean? Like, we would have like a Michin versus Chelsea Green like dumpster match, which was actually a pretty entertaining match, if you ask me. Now it can be for a meaningless title, right? It's better than it being for nothing, You can add other elements as a result. Like a DQ win means nothing because you don't get the title, etc., etc. All the other wrestling tropes, But then we get to easily the worst segment of the night. The Street Profits, DIY, and Pretty Deadly, along with Nick Aldis, are backstage. The Street Profits are upset because someone attacked them. Now, Pretty Deadly lies right to the face of the Street Profits. This cannot be blamed on the Street Profits. This is just bad writing, right? But because Pretty Deadly, they're not good actors, despite the fact that they have this, like, we want to be on Broadway, like, musical gimmick type of thing, right? They basically just straight up lie to the Street Profits' face in the most obvious of ways. They're like, it was, and then the other guy cuts him off and says, the Garzas, right? And then those idiots, the Street Profits in kayfabe, they just believe this. You know what I mean? This is like an indirect burial. The Street Profits come out looking like the dumbest people in the history of wrestling. Again, there's nothing they can do about it. They have to play along with the script. It's just that the delivery of Pretty Deadly made it so it's like when Jerry fools Tom from Tom and Jerry. And you're like, Tom's silly. You get the same impression from the Street Profits and BFAB. They're just these three idiots that are walking around. Like, they don't understand that first of all, Pretty Deadly are assholes and liars, number one. Two, they don't understand when they're clearly being lied to, right? This is especially ironic because they're supposed to be the Street Profits, right? They're supposed to be these street guys. They're supposed to have these street smarts, right? But they showed none of this whatsoever. Instead, they go around the corner where the Garzas are just happen to be there, and they get into a brawl with them. Nick Aldis says match between the four of yous, right? And that happens, who cares? But before the match, before anything else happens, we get an Andrade segment about how Andrade is not a jobber, but he is a jobber. So this segment is the same segment that Santos Escobar had, and that led to absolutely nothing. It's the same thing. Andrade it's done. It's over. The Andrade experiment is over. He's had like 10 years and hasn't gotten over at all. He hasn't learned English at all. He's good in the ring. He's got a good look. He's got a decent size, but he can't put it all together. Specifically, he lacks the charm and charisma. Now, he's a good-looking guy, so he does have the potential to be charismatic, and he's going for that I'm cooler than you thing. But you can't do that if you don't speak the language. Because at the end of the day, someone's going to look at you and be like, what the fuck did you just say? Shut your fucking mouth. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to know if someone has charisma or not, imagine them like doing a promo off with The Rock, right? Like, The Rock would completely bury Andrade, like, instantly. But anyways, that's what we get. And then we move on back to the same segment with the Street Profits. They have their match, you know what I mean? They win, they beat Los Garza. this is presented as a big deal by Michael Cole, but I'm pretty sure that Los Garza have won one match on TV in their entire main roster run. So it's not a big deal at all. Nobody could care less, right? Even if Street Profits lost, nothing would have changed. They go back to the back. They find Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly is just finished talking with DIY, where they reveal that they lied and that DIY owes them one, essentially, right? The Street Profits, even dumber than before, come out and they're like, thanks. You know, and BFAB's like, you know, like, we weren't sure what to think about you guys, but like, you know, you guys are all right, respect. And then Pretty Deadly's like, respect, and they leave. Then Apollo Crews appears out of nowhere, right? Like a genie out of a lamp, and he's like, they lied to you, right? And then he walks away. And then Corey Graves says, why didn't Apollo Crews say this earlier? You know, a pretty good point. I mean, I guess in kayfabe, the understanding is he wasn't there, right? He just came into the arena. But it's like, why wouldn't they just ask other people? They just go and ask Pretty Deadly, and they just take their word for it. Pretty Deadly, who is a heel tag team, who are like cheaters and liars. But anyways, this then leads to the essential main event of the show. It's going to be Sami Zayn versus Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes keeps getting abused. He keeps getting, like, I'm going to coin the term inadvertently buried. I mean, like, Sami Zayn doesn't win the match, but he's on top. He does the exploder in the corner. He goes for the haluva kick. Carmelo rolls out of the ring, and he starts walking backwards, right? He basically abandons the match, so Sami Zayn would have won by countout. But Braun Strowman appears and picks him up. He just runs and picks him up. Carmelo Hayes wiggles out of it and runs to the back, right? The whole Braun Strowman being mad at Carmelo thing needs to be explained. He's just mad that Carmelo beat him by countout. Okay, he beat you by countout, dude. You know what I mean? What, like everyone can just attack someone that beat them? He beat you, bro. Fair and square. Get over it, Braun. But anyways, during this time, Sami Zayn is left alone. He gets attacked by the new bloodline, right? They start whooping his ass thoroughly until eventually there's an attempt to be saved, right, by Braun Strowman, who comes back with Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes is no longer relevant in this segment. Braun Strowman goes in there, starts destroying everybody, right? Then him and Jacob Fatu have a stare down, which is ridiculous because there is no universe in the world where Jacob Fatu, and including the other, there is no universe where any Samoan that we've ever seen in wrestling has any chance against Braun Strowman. Right? This is not a dig against Samoans because there's no universe where anyone that we've seen in wrestling has a legit chance against Braun Strowman. The guy is built like a fucking ox, right? Maybe like Brock Lesnar, maybe Lashley, but honestly, I would probably take Braun Strowman just because of the sheer size. Now, I know some of you nerds that have done your 2 free classes of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and gotten your free t-shirt are thinking, Brock Lesnar and Lashley are trained. Well, the hater, as all of you may know by now, has done combat sports a long time. And let me tell you when I tell you, size is the most important factor. Strength and weight are the 2 most important things ever. And while Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley obviously are very, very strong and very, very large individuals, Braun Strowman is like basically twice their size. You know what I mean? So there's a point where that shit equalizes, right? That like UFC cannot sustain someone the size of Braun Strowman. You know what I mean? So people are like, oh, if he went there, Cyril Gahn would take him down. No, he wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? No, Cyril Gahn cannot lift Braun Strowman's leg unless Braun Strowman lets him. You understand me? Like these fantasies of, he's going to double leg him. No, he won't. Oh, Colby Covington would double leg Braun Strowman. No, he wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like Braun Strowman, unless he wants to be moved, he ain't moving, motherfucks. You know what I mean? But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Braun Strowman gets his ass beat because during the stare down, the 2 other new bloodline members attack him. He gets Samoan spiked a couple of times. Sami Zayn fights valiantly and gets his ass beat. The question, of course, is where are Sami Zayn's supposed friends? You know what I mean? This is the problem that I have with this entire segment, right? It's like, where are the friends, right? Sami Zayn is supposed to run deep. He's now Sami Uso, right? Where is Jey Uso? Right? I guess he was on Raw. Where's Jimmy Uso? You know, he came last week, attacked with a candlestick. This week, nowhere to be seen. And obviously, most importantly, where is Roman Reigns? You know, why is Sami Zayn fighting the battles of Roman Reigns? Roman Reigns is like, comes off as the biggest pussy of all time. He refuses to fight his own battles, and his dumbass lackeys, the Usos and Sami Zayn, are still doing lackey shit. You know, the whole idea of them being equals is completely rejected by Roman Reigns, both in kayfabe, in real life likely, and also in the way that the wrestling program is being presented. Number 1, they asked Roman Reigns, apologize to Jey Uso. He didn't give a fuck. Jey Uso came on board anyways, just like Roman Reigns said years ago. He's gonna do what he always does, fall in line, you know what I mean? And same thing with Sami Zayn. Like, he's like, I don't want to help. Now he's just like, he's like a complete puppet. Like, all he does is help. Like, Sami Zayn doesn't do anything else. He just helps and then gets attacked by other people, including the new bloodline. But anyways, logically speaking, Sami Zayn would have been better off siding with Solo Sikoa, who at least would back him up, presumably. But anyways, that's how that shit went down. After this, Kevin Owens comes out. I guess they're running out of time, you know what I mean? Kevin Owens comes out, and we also forget the fact that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, as far as we know, are like best friends, right? And they didn't have a falling out, since WrestleMania, where they were supporting each other. Yeah? So Kevin Owens doesn't care that his supposed best friend, Sami Zayn, is getting his ass beat by, the new bloodline. I guess the story has shifted to Kevin Owens' best friends were fucking Cookie Rhodes and Randy Orton. And he betrayed them just like he betrays everybody. Kevin Owens is one of the worst written characters in history. He's like as bad as Carlito was when Carlito was relevant, right? It's like all Carlito would do is betray people. Like Kevin Owens and Carlito are like the reverse Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is also, in many ways, a very poorly written character. Because every time he forms a tag team or alliance with everybody, they always turn on him. Like, everyone turns on Rey Mysterio. It's honestly really weird. It's like Rey Mysterio should be like, I have no friends. Every one of his friends has turned on him, including his own son. Right? So it's like, when Dominic turned on him, everyone's like, ooh, what do you mean, ooh? It's like, literally, you can put him with absolutely any wrestler ever, right? And he would get turned on. That's just that's what happens to the Rey Mysterios of the world. But anyways, we get to the final segment. Basically, Nick Aldis says to Kevin Owens, give me back the title. In so many words, Kevin Owens says, I'm not going to, right? You know what I mean? It's not yours, blah, 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 blee, 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 right? We come to find out that the Winged Eagle title, or at least I come to find out, has not replaced the main title. So Cody Rhodes comes out with the real title, and it's like, oh, who gives a shit? Let him keep the gold belt. You know what I mean? Why is he being threatened over the gold belt? People steal belts all the time, and they steal belts that matter. But basically, none of what Nick Aldis says has any bearing whatsoever because Cody Rhodes comes and just pretty much overrules him. Cody Rhodes says, I don't do it for me. He cuts a stereotypical Cody Rhodes John Cena promo. I do it for my little girls. I do it for Randy Orton. I do it for The Rock. Shut up, you thong-wearing fatty. You know what I'm saying? Nobody cares about Cody Rhodes. But he comes out and basically he suggests for absolutely no reason other than to give Kevin Owens his 19th title shot. Also, by the way, what happened with Kevin Owens as a character change? I understand that he turned heel, but there still needs to be some consistency. He can say all he wants, for example. Oh, I hate Cody Rhodes now, blah, 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 blee, blee, blee. But this is not consistent with what he was saying before when he was friends with Cody Rhodes. And he was saying, I don't deserve a title match. This was 4 months ago. In those 4 months, Kevin Owens has won exactly 0 matches. So with that being said, it's like, why does he deserve it now? You know what I mean? What has he done to deserve it now, other than just be a heel and steal the title? This is completely inconsistent with what he was saying months ago. And it's not like something changed. It's not like now he has reason to believe he deserves it. What, Cody's a bad friend, so now all of a sudden you deserve a title shot when you didn't a few months ago? None of this makes any sense. But basically, Cody Rhodes, like always, falls for the ruse. Nick Aldis, all the threats that he made, obviously turned out to be empty. We set up a match for the Royal Rumble. Cody versus Kevin Owens in a ladder match, right? They're going to hang up both titles. This match exists for one purpose only, for Cody Rhodes to grab both titles and hold them up for a photo. That's literally it. So then when they put him unfairly in the Hall of Fame, they have this moment, right? That's the whole point of this match. It's just to get a picture of Cody on top of a ladder holding 2 belts. Kevin Owens has no chance in hell of winning this match. I don't care what anybody says. It's too close to WrestleMania to give it to Cookie. You know what I mean? Straight up. In this case, Cookie Owens. So unless he wins the Royal Rumble or something, right? He has no chance. Now, the context of the Royal Rumble would suggest that this match is important, as it will be one of the main events of the Royal Rumble. However, we all know that there's no way this match is main eventing anything, right? This match is going to be the opening match of the Royal Rumble. Actually, no. The opening match is going to be the Women's Royal Rumble, probably. This match is going to go in between the 2 Royal Rumbles. I don't see this match closing the show. If it does, I might not even watch it. But anyways, the idea here is that, oh, wow, they're going to headline. They're going to be one of the headliners of the next big event. But the answer is no, they're not. Clearly, anybody that knows anything about marketing knows that the next big event that has now surpassed the Royal Rumble in terms of actual, hype is June June meaning January, cuckolds. January 6th, 2025, Raw on Netflix, aka Hater Reboot. This is the big event. This is where CM Punk is wrestling. This is where Roman Reigns is wrestling. Cody Rhodes, as the mid-carder that he is, he's just a mid-carder with, like, you know, the world title. That's basically all he is. He's going to be relegated to the Royal Rumble as per tradition. Roman Reigns and CM Punk are going to be in the Royal Rumble match probably, right? And that's how you know that, you know, Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes are just mid-carders. Now, in addition to this, it should be noted that the Royal Rumble is like, usually it's in January, but I believe this year it's in February. So we have to tolerate this for another 4 to 5 weeks. We have to tolerate Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens having this back and forth for another month. And in this month, you can bet your ass that neither of these two guys is going to wrestle, right? And that brings me to the last point I want to make about this video. The complete lack of wrestling. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Hater, there was a lot of wrestling on this show. Sure there was. But absolutely none of the people that you saw today, absolutely none of them, are going to be in the Royal Rumble, or they're going to be at WrestleMania, or even on January 6th, right? The only exception might be Sami Zayn, where he will have like an undercard role, and he could have an undercard role in all three of these things. However, the Sami Zayn match didn't even conclude. It was just another bloodline beatdown. So, I don't even count that shit as a wrestling match. You know, matches that end in DQs and are under like 3 minutes or 4 minutes or even 5 minutes, they don't count. They're just a segment. You know, that like nobody was entertained by that match because the match ended without a conclusion. So with all that being said, I consider today's SmackDown to be an abject failure and clear evidence that absolutely nobody cares at all about entertaining us. They will entertain us 4 or 5, maybe 6 if we're lucky, times a year. These are the Royal Rumble, right? One of the crown jewels, WrestleMania, of course, and then that's it. Those are the three. SummerSlam, maybe. That's a 50-50. And then we might have like 1 or 2 special events, right? We might have like, you know, like Backlash in Paris, something like that. That was not good, but you know what I'm saying. Or something like January 6th, right? That's a big deal. These are things that are going to be entertaining. But everything else is just throwaway garbage that nobody could possibly want to see. You know, I ask you all, was anyone entertained by what we saw today? In my personal opinion, no reasonable person could be entertained by this in the slightest. And with that being said, take care of yourselves, cuckolds.